All right, so in part two of this video, we're going to take a look at some more of state building in Africa. So this slide really highlights one of the most important themes in Africa, the politics. So, we kind of been hitting politics a little bit in part two. We're going to look a little bit more at it now. So Africa was not politically unified under a single type of government. So some states, such as Mali and Ethiopia, really developed highly centralized governments with strong rulers, administrative systems, tax systems, and even military power. Mali became one of the most successful examples of a centralized government because they really controlled trade routes, and they would even tax merchants from coming in and out of their country or empire, or crossing through it, I should say. And it uses wealth to really strengthen those political authority. Ethiopia really represents another example of a centralized government. So, unlike much of North and West Africa, Ethiopia really remains strongly Christian. So, Ethiopian rulers use Christianity as a unifying force, and they really maintain a centralized monarchy despite the growth of Islam around them. So, not all African society was centralized. The Igbo people of West Africa govern themselves through the Council of Elders and even the kinship network rather than just through a single king or emperor. So, this decentralized approach really allowed communities to make decisions collectively while maintaining some kind of local autonomy. So, religious diversity also shaped African political systems. So, Islam really influenced government in places such as Mali and the Swahili coast, while Christianity really remained dominant in Ethiopia, and the indigenous traditions continued elsewhere. So the key takeaway is that Africa contained many different successful forms of government, each adapted to a local environment, culture, and circumstances. So between 1200 and 1450, African states really expanded their influence through the participation of regional and global trade networks, which we've been kind of talking about throughout this video, or part one and now part two. So in West Africa, the growth of the Trans-Saharan Trade Network really helped states such as Mali and later Songhai dominate commerce through the region. These states controlled valuable goods, including gold, salt, and slaves. Their participation in trade brought wealth while also facilitating, the spread of Islam, technology, and new ideas. So in East Africa, they participated in the Indian Ocean trade, which transformed coastal cities into thriving commercial centers, such as Kilwa and Zanzibar, which became places where African, Arab, Persian, and even Asian merchants really exchanged goods and ideas. So these interactions encouraged cultural diffusion, and it created the unique Swahili culture that really blended African and Islamic influence together. So the Great Zimbabwe Kingdom also really expanded through trade. Its location between the inland gold mines and coastal trade routes allowed it to become one of the major economic and political centers. So the Great Enclosures, remember that's a very known structure of Great Zimbabwe, and other stone structures, really symbolize that state's wealth, authority, and even ability to organize labor on a large scale. So this slide really reminds us that African societies were active participants in the broader Afro-Eurasian system of exchange. So they weren't really isolated like that misconception I talked about earlier in part one. They really played an important role in the global trade and cultural interactions. All right, so now we're near the end of this video, so let's review. So let's bring it all together, part one and two. So so remember for key takeaways. So African states really demonstrated continuity by preserving those traditional leadership structures, those kinship systems, and even cultural practices. So they demonstrated innovation through those new systems of government, trade regulations, architectures, and even economic organizations. So they demonstrated diversity through those centralized kingdoms, such as Mali and Ethiopia, and a very decentralized society such as Igbo. So trade was one of the most important forces driving African development. So the trans-Saharan trade route and the Indian Ocean trade networks connected Africa to the larger Afro-Eurasian world, and it encouraged the movement of goods, people, religions, ideas, and even technologies and innovations. So for you as an AP student, just to keep it simple, just remember these things. Mali equals gold salt trade plus Mansa Musa plus Islam. Mansa Musa himself equals pilgrimage or Hajj to Mecca, wealth from gold, and plus the devaluing of gold in Cairo due to so much being in the environment. Swahili city states equal Indian Ocean trade plus Islam plus cultural blending plus monsoon winds plus those Dow ships. The Great Zimbabwe Kingdom equals the Great Enclosure plus the gold trade plus indigenous African state building. Ethiopia, the Kingdom of Ethiopia, equals Christianity because remember they stayed Christian even though Islam was all around them, plus a centralized monarchy. And then the Igbo people equals a decentralized political system. So if you can connect all these examples to trade, state building, and cultural exchange, that is strong evidence you can use in any DBQ, SEQ, multiple choice question um, on your AP exam. So we're going to stop here. We're done.